Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today I'm going to show you some really quick DIY watercolor hacks for making new decor for any room in your house that will brighten the walls up and look beautiful and elegant all at the same time. So I'll also show you how to not muddy your paints on your paper and the things that you will need in order to get started. I am checking to make sure that I'm going live. So far, I do not hear me. Hopefully, it's just lagging. It is raining in my neck of the woods, which I don't know where y'all are, but it is definitely raining today. So that could interfere with internet probably. But it looks like we got 0 dropped frames. I am going live. Very, very good. Hello, precious people. So now I will mute me, but I will keep an eye on it because I know how the internet is. The internet likes to stop working mid-step. All right, I'm going to show you real quick. If you've never watercolored, get some Crayola watercolor paints. Hey, Janice, you see and hear me. Awesome. I'm so grateful for that. We got these paints. These are very messy because I've had these for 6 years. But you can get a set of 24 watercolor paints at Hobby Lobby for 10 bucks. It's super easy. I use the lid as the palette. That's all you need in order to get started with watercolor. For the paints and for the brushes, I like using this set. I don't even have all 5 anymore. I think I've lost some of my brushes, but this set is really great by Royal and Nickel. And I think it's 12 bucks. I don't know if you can get this at Hobby Lobby anymore, but you could probably get it online, somewhere local, anywhere that has. This is what you kind of need in general. You need like a round, you need a flat, you really don't need, you need a smaller round. So we're going to be doing 2 small rounds or 2 different size rounds today. And these ones have been workhorses for me, like 6 years going, this one has been going. Do I have some fancier ones? Let me just tell you, if you want to upgrade, you can get this one for 25 bucks. Yeah, that's an expensive brush. So I may use it and show you the difference. You'll need a pencil. You'll need watercolor paper, 140 pound. If you don't have 140 pound, you're going to have a harder time when you mess up and you need to dab out or lift or whatever may be the case. I'm trying to think what else you might need. I think this is really all you need. An eraser if you mess up and you need to erase, but most pencils have an eraser on the end. I've lost my needed erasers. I need to just buy a ton of them. I do have this harder eraser. That's fine. You can use that. White, no, a white eraser is great. These are all great. Let me see. I'm gonna just fix up my desk here for a second. Let me show you what's on my desk right now. So I had to run out to my car and get all of my paints because yesterday I had a class, and yesterday the class was painting a dock, and there was a different dock that we were going to paint, but it was just one student showed up because of the storm. There was like horrific rain and wind, and I don't know what. At one point I was like, is there a tornado out there? But we ended up having one brave soul come out, and so her and I painted a different scene. I actually took a photo of this dock. It's on some family property. And when I'm there, I like to take pictures. But this was the 2 of us when we were done. And I really think hers turned out amazing. Hers is on the right, mine's on the left. I think we spent a little bit more time drawing this just to make sure we had the right proportions and everything. But as you can see, her perspective was a little different than mine, and I think she nailed it more than I did, to be honest, with how it turned out. So but today this is what I want you guys to know that we're going to be painting. So I will show you pretty much step by step how to do this. And so don't worry about like if you get the right little squiggles of the coral. This is something that can be modified to different colors, different, you can do different backgrounds, but we're going to keep it simple because my title said 5 minutes, y'all. So I'm going to try and do it in 5 minutes, right? Y'all know I go about an hour for my live, so we may do several. That's kind of cool when we do several different art pieces in an hour. That just shows you how quick and easy it can be. Last week we did this beautiful little, let me see if I can do a close-up. See if we can do a close-up. So we did this beautiful little lady floating in a pool. How fun was that? If you didn't get to see it live, you can go back after this one and watch it. All my lives go into the archive so you can follow along. Grab your paintbrushes and your paints and paper and just follow step by step as I do it. And I even draw this out with you. So we're gonna get started today. I have my salted caramel. This is a different tea than I've used probably online. Let me see if I can show you what we're having. It is Bigelow. That's a pretty famous, well-known name, but it's salted caramel, yummy caramel tea, all natural. Let's hope. Let's hope it's all natural. I have not put my honey in there yet. You know how I like to put my Coastal Comb Bee Company honey. This is from our pastor at our church. He has bees and he likes to sell the honey. I am trying to get some beeswax from him to do some soap. Possibly I've not made beeswax soap before. So I'm just gonna have to give him a gentle reminder that he said he would give me some beeswax. But sometimes he has to buy beeswax because he runs out, he said. So, I don't know what you need beeswax for with honey, but maybe there's something to it. I don't have no papers yet. Let me cut some paper. Oh, my little doggie's getting trampled. You're getting trampled. Poor little puppy. So where are you guys joining me from? Let me know in the chat. Ooh, might be. That's good. I'm going to do 3 paintings for you. All right. It's very important when you have watercolor papers. I get a large pad of paper so that I can cut it up. A lot of times, like this is an 8 by 10. This is 8 by 10. You can find lots of pre-made frames with mats for 8 by 10 at the store. Like even Walmart has them, but you can go anywhere and find them. Let me show you guys this for a second. These are little ACEOs that I've been painting every day with my July painting watercolor painting challenge. I give you prompts for every day that you read. It's scripture, and scripture is good for our souls to just encourage us. And a lot of times I'll read a scripture and images come to mind. I do Bible art journaling, so that's one thing that I kind of enjoy doing on Wednesdays. I have a group that meets. If you are interested in that and you're local and you want to join our Bible art journaling group, let me know. Just leave a comment and I'll contact you. But basically, I paint in my Bible, so it really helps me understand the word better when I do that. But this one I did yesterday and this one. And these were, one was about rain in the spring on the earth. And one was about the rainbow in Genesis, where God said he won't flood the earth again, although there have been some floodings locally, regionally, and globally. I do know that the whole earth has not flooded again since, so he does keep his word, y'all. But right now we're going to look at, I can do the 2 small ones. So one is 5 by 7. I don't know what size this one is. I thought I was cutting them both 5 by 7. Let me change my light over here so you can see what I'm doing better. So I actually have an 8x10 and 2 smaller ones. So you can find 5x7s as well. But right now we're gonna draw. We're gonna draw. So get our pencil out and we're gonna see what kind of squigglies we can make. Let me get a sip of my tea. It's really good. I'm nervous putting it right by my cup of water. And I want you to see my cup of water. Look at that. That's a clear cup. That ain't clear. You can't see to the bottom of that. This one is a little better. You can kind of see to the bottom, but not too great. But you know what? We're going to be using some blues, so I'm not too concerned. There are some chunkies in there. All the paint had settled down. If you are lazy and you don't want to, why is it not focusing? There we go. If you don't want to use yucky water, just go get yourself a clean cup of water. We'll wait for you. But right now I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw something. So I wanted to show you real quick. This is my inspiration piece. So it could be your inspiration piece, or you can look up something online. But basically a coral is, and I used to doodle coral when I was a kid all the time. I used to make different shapes like this. And I'm just doing whatever. I'm not even really following that one because I'm making it my own, y'all. And you can make it your own. And see how I don't even know if you can actually see what I'm doing. It's very hard to tell sometimes. Oh, you didn't even see what I was doing because I have it on that. Okay, I just did this real quick. It's so hard to see because when you're doing watercolor, hey Linda, thanks for joining. I love it. So you can make some really fun decor. Are you and Bobby gonna do this together? That would be so fun. Grab some watercolors, right? I just drew this really quick. Let me show you again, like on the smaller one, if you want to see exactly how to do this. So like I randomly took my pencil, randomly went from the bottom and made some, I might do this one a little bit darker so y'all can see. And see how I'm not even thinking, I'm just letting my mind kind of go. Now see, that was quick, right? Janice said, what are we drawing? I was making peas. Okay, so we're doing coral, and my shapes are very organic and doodly, which I think you'll be fine at. You could do very random doodly coral. You could do a seashell. I think that requires more than 5 minutes, but look at this. We're gonna do another little doodle real quick on this piece. So we're gonna do probably 5 different corals, okay? And I feel like we can really be however we want. If we want it to be more thick, we can. But look at that. That's less than 30 seconds. Y'all can do this. This is easy peasy. Lemon squeezy, right? But I want us to zoom back out because I want you to see what I'm doing with my palette, with my water. Remember, I am using this chunky, dirty water, which makes me a little scared. Maybe we'll go to this brownish water. That's less dirty. A little bit. Yo, you want to see my doggy? You guys want to see my doggy real quick? He's like right here. Let me show ya. Oh, say hello to the world. Say hello to the world. Say hello, precious people. My name is Little Bit. I don't know why he's under my foot. Normally goes in his little bed over there. But we'll see if I have to get up and let him out because he might be naughty. We're not painting backgrounds on this. We're leaving our background completely white. This is an easy decor. Easy decor you can frame and use today. Like you could go to the store and frame this right now. After you paint it, of course. So we're using 2 brushes. I love this cheap one and I love this expensive one. So you can use both. Linda, I know my dog's a cutie. He's a cutie. So yeah, let's figure out our palette. So some people like the more muted colors. Let me see if I have my muted colors. Look at that. That's just like a Payne's Gray turquoisey with some burnt sienna, burnt umber, and a little bit of beige. Maybe we should do something else. Maybe we should do some kind of like an orangey pink coral. Would that be good? Anyone in the chat want to say yes, let's do that? Because we can do different ones. Let's say you're doing this for a kid's room and you want real bright colors. A lot of times you may want to buy something like this. This is mauve on it. It's definitely, this is old. This is probably 30 years old, y'all. And this is student grade. And really for something when you're making home decor that's gonna just brighten up your walls, it's not like fine art. It's not going in a gallery. It's just something you want to make for your walls. Don't worry about the quality of your paints in your paper as much. I mean, you do still want some 140 pound because if you mess up, you do want to do that. Okay, Janice says less. Yes, everybody's saying yes. So I have this mop. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit. Ooh, it's really yucky because it's got some oil built up or something. I don't know. Probably the honey. I think they mix it with honey, I think. I don't know for sure. This one is called Cad Red Medium. If I can open it. Ooh, I don't know if I can open this. Oh yeah, I did. All right, so I'm going to kind of show you a little bit how to make a really pretty kind of orangey pink coral color. And you will need some orange, and I do have orange already in my palette. So I can use all these without using what I just just put out there on my palette. But sometimes it's nice to have fresh paint when you're doing more bright colors. Now see what I'm doing here? I'm adding a drop of water into each and every one of the paints I'm going to be using. That just rehydrates. See how it's rehydrating? It's already starting. You can spray water. Debbie says, now I can see chat. Oh, good. I'm glad that you can see the chat now, Debbie. Thanks for joining. Sometimes I have a hard time seeing the chat. So I use a software called OBS, and sometimes the docs, they're called docs, and I can pull them up and have them on my screen on my computer so I can see like who's on there and their comments. But sometimes that doc fails me and I'm like, how do I get it back? Debbie says, I was watching from beginning but couldn't see chat. Yes to the orange color. Okay, great. Everybody is in agreement. So I'm going to mix on the lid of my palette. So I don't know if we can do a close-up of my palette, but I'm going to try and do that real quick for y'all. So I did squeeze out some mauve right here and some cadmium red. But right here, I'm going to mix up my orange. So I'm getting this nice cadmium orange. You could do a red orange, a little bit of red orange in there. And all I'm doing is creating the color right here on my palette on the lid. Now I could use a little bit of this cad red. Look at that. That's super bright. A little bit of this mauve. If you don't have the mauve, just use like some of your purple. Using some purple. And look at that color. We're getting a nice color there. I kind of like that color. So you would play around with this on your palette. Oh, what is that? Goat? That's awesome. I don't know how you get those emojis, y'all. I need to look into that. That's kind of fun. All right, so what I want you guys to do next on your paper, I want you to, you can do this wet on wet or dry on wet. Now see, I've already got this kind of loaded up with color. So maybe I don't want to waste that color. If you're like me, you don't want to really waste the color on the tip of your brush. Just set that down somewhere. I have this cute little turtle. I'm going to set it on. So it's going to hold that. Now I can use any other large brush, a flat brush, any brush. And what I'm going to do is get my brush wet. And I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to paint, and see this dirty water? You can't even tell it's dirty. Like literally, you don't have to keep cleaning your water. Like I've been using this water for weeks, and it's fine. I know that seems weird. I mean, get fresh. It's okay. It's not gonna, but just know that a lot of times I do not get fresh water. Now, the weird thing now is that you look like you're watching someone not even paint, right? But what we're doing, we're prepping this paper with water and we're getting it nice and saturated. Like, don't be stingy with your water. That's why we use 140-pound watercolor paper, because we want to put lots of water. And if you have cheap paper, 90-pound watercolor paper, which they make, I don't know why. Maybe it's for kids. But I think even kids will notice that it's not that great. My kids always notice when I try to give them cheap cardstock versus Stampin' Up! Cardstock, which was more expensive. And they were still like, give me the kind you use, Mom. I'm like, how do you guys know? And they just know. They know the weight of the paper feels different, right? You know, the good thing about using dirty water is I know where I've painted clean water. Or where I've put the, the water already. So this part might take a little more time, but I don't want you guys to fiddle too much. I just want you to get it on there. If it goes over your lines that you drew, that's okay. No one's going to know. Because how would they know? They're not going to see any kind of reference photo. We don't even have a reference photo. This is just flying by the seat of our pants and our imagination, right? All right, so this is completely wet. I don't know if you guys can tell. The whole surface is shiny. That's how you know it's wet. Now you could tape down your painting and make sure it's flat, but don't worry about it. If it's gonna rise up, guess what happens? We go with the flow. Now we got my paint. Oh, I used the same brush. Oops, we can use the loaded up brush. This is the loaded up one. And look at the difference in some of this. Like I am dropping in some of this color here and there. And over here. Just dropping it in. You're going to see how I make some shading. So y'all seeing what I'm doing, right? Maybe I could zoom in, I don't know. Right now it's looking, it gives me lobster vibes right now, but I'm also going to show you a trick so that obviously you don't want muddy colors. If you put opposites on the color wheel together, they can have a tendency to get muddy. So like yellow and purple would be more gray, and blue and orange would be more grayish, and red and green. Those are the ones. You can use them in different ways though. And that could be for another time, but we're focusing on getting this just really vibrantly put down, wet on wet. This is super easy. And one color. This is all we did. We mixed up a color we like. And we're going to add some dimensions to this. But right now, I'm just getting all of this filled in. See, if you go over, it's fine. You don't want to do it. You don't want to be perfect at this. You just want to kind of do something more fun. Let's see if we can do this. Maybe I can do a different zoom where you can see what I'm doing. And I'm sorry about the glare on there. I keep trying to figure out how to change my lighting, but I want it to be bright enough so I can see my paper, and not too bright though that it ends up being too shiny right there. But I'll lift this up. Another cool thing you can do is lift your paper and let it kind of flow. See how it went off the bottom? I don't know if I wanted that to happen. But if you make a mistake, this is good to know.
I can rinse it. I just wanted to tell you I was leaving for work.
Alrighty.
And that I love you.
Love you too, baby. Have a good day at work.
I'll try.
You will. You'll have a good day.
I love you.
Love you too. My sweet baby's going to work. All right, this is how I fix the bottom. I just kind of wet it and lift it with a paper towel or with your brush, but it has to be clean. All right, so that it makes me think of a lobster, y'all. It's kind of funny. So how do we do the next step? So I'm going to use a smaller round brush. So you can use a smaller one. If you don't have this one, just use whatever you have on hand, but I like having that little point. So now I'm going to use maybe some yellow. Let's look at this yellow. I like, this is yellow ochre, which I like a whole lot. I buy tubes and tubes of this stuff because I go through it a lot and replace it. Good thing about using pan paints is you can replace it. Oh, Janice said, bye, baby girl. She just left. So this is yellow ochre. Watch what happens because this is all still really wet. You can see the shine. I'm going to just dab it. Watch what it does, y'all. It's just amazing and fabulous. So I'm just making little dots here and there. Sometimes it's really dried out. And that will make it so you have to really get some more in there. I'm going to just dab it in there. And I don't know if you can see how this is going. Like, it is going so amazingly. Let me see. I want to show you up close. So watch what happens when I drop some yellow in here. It just spreads out. I get mesmerized by this, y'all. It just makes me happy to see it. It's kind of therapeutic to do this too. So if you need some home decor and you want to do something therapeutic, just grab your watercolors, right? I'm going to dab some more over here and over here. It just spreads. It's so amazing how it just spreads like that. Why y'all barking? There is no reason to bark except that your sister has left for work. That's the only reason I could think of that y'all are barking. I know. Shh. Let's see. So now I'm just kind of going around here and there with that same yellow. See how it's kind of building? And as you guys do this and you learn what colors do together, it's kind of fun. And you can do this more and more, and you can make a bunch of them. Like, how cool is that? So I'm still using that yellow. I'm going to put some up here now. And I don't know why I'm choosing where I'm choosing. I just let intuition happen. So this was something that, I don't know if you follow Rachel Varner. I think that's how you say her name. She actually talked about this in a short video of hers that she paints intuitively. So like as the painting is emerging, she ends up responding to the painting as it's being painted. So if you think about intuition and what comes naturally to you, that could be something that you'll end up learning as you paint daily. That's why I do that little painting challenge. I want you guys to start doing this on a daily basis. Now I'm going to rinse my yellow off and dry it on a paper towel, which is, yes, it's an old paper towel too. Everything on here is old from like probably a week ago. Now I want to see about making some darker areas. So here's a nice dark purple color, and I'm loading up my brush just straight into here. I don't even know what it's going to look like. I'm going to try and put it where I think some of the darker areas would be, almost like a shadow. And again, that yellow in there that I already plopped in there is going to react. It's going to react. And sometimes it makes a muddy color because you're like, oh, what happened? But look at that. I'm just dabbing just the dot tip of that. Just here and there. Now, I'm not trying to do it everywhere. And this purple is perfect for making a shadow. Do you see how it's kind of emerging? It's really kind of cool, actually. I like watching watercolor come to life. Like, it's so amazing. This was just a blank piece of paper. And we scribbled some pencil lines, put some color. Like, this is so easy and fun. So easy and fun. And it's not brain surgery. We don't have to worry about if we're going to mess up. Because it's just a piece of paper. So I'm putting a little bit up here now. I do kind of like how it looks when it's still wet. So this is all wet and wet. You're learning a lot of the wet and wet. Where do I want to put some more? Maybe right there. Oh yeah, that looks kind of nice. And see, you can change the colors on this if like you have a room that's like more turquoise. You can do turquoise colors. I like how that's looking. That's really dark in there now. And I'm doing a little bit on here. It's almost really dark purple in there now. Might go back to where I was already once before. Add a couple more dots on top. And look at how that's coming to life, y'all. It's just coming to life. And I'm letting the paint do the work. When you're watercoloring, you let the paint do the work. I need more tea, y'all. My throat. I don't know about you, but my throat, I woke up with some like, like trying to clear my throat. I think it's just Mondays. Mondays seem to make me have some issues here. So now I'm just adding a little bit in here. Now you can create shapes or you can just let it be whatever shape you already drew and you're not trying to recreate it. You're just going right on top of where it was. But I am liking how this paint is looking mixed in with that. Now another thing you can do at this stage, you can rinse your brush and you can just get some pure cadmium red right off your palette and see what happens when you just drop that in. You can do it kind of next to your purples and see what that does, because red and purple will still be kind of a purplish color, but we're getting that brighter reds in there. And coral is just so beautiful, y'all. I love how coral looks. And like I said, I used to doodle on like my homework when I was a kid. I did not do my homework. I don't know if you were like that. I always said, I want to be an artist. When I was 5, I was like, I want to be an artist. But nobody really in my family encouraged me to go that route. I had to just pick it eventually on my own. Is this out of focus or am I just goofy looking? Okay, so we're putting a little bit more here and there. Maybe I'm gonna do a little line like right there. And it's still wet, y'all. If it's not still wet, you can drop some water. Here's another trick, real quick. Just clean water right on top. You can put some clean water right there. And that just helps it spread. Because you need water to help this all spread. But I do like these colors. They're turning out really pretty. I can see this framed and looking pretty on the wall. Now this mauve I haven't used in a million years, probably 30 years to be honest with you. Let's see what happens if I do use it. What happens if I put it down here on the bottom? Let me see if I can pull that screen up just a little bit. So this is the mauve that I found in my stash. So you guys can use whatever you have on hand. If you have a lot of different tube paints you want to use them. I like how that's looking. And I'm going to put some over here. Like that. I like just the colors, how they blend together and how they look. Just as fun. So yeah, that I'm feeling like this one's almost done, y'all. I don't want to overwork it. So how do you know if you're overworking something? It gets muddy. And I don't want to overwork it. So I probably will set this off to the side. I'm looking at this little part right here though. Let me put a little bit in there and it's very dry. So let me just dip my brush a little bit and just dab water. You can always re-wet your paper. If you run out of water on your paper, you can add it. Ooh, that looks so pretty. Now this looks less like a lobster, y'all. I like it. I'm liking it. I might put a little drop of water in here just to get that spreading. So I want it to look watercolory because that's what makes it look so pretty. I do have a little bit of mud right there. That's a muddy color I don't like, but that's okay because we're practicing and we're learning something. So we may not like our finished product, but we're learning every time we put our brush on paper. So I'm going to put this guy off to the side somewhere where it won't drip on anything else. And I'm going to move these guys over here. So everyone had said the coral color, but let's see what happens if we do some bright turquoise colors. Should we look at some bright turquoise colors? Let's just do one at a time because sometimes we get overwhelmed with too many paintings all at once. So again, we're going to fill this in with clean water. Now I'm just going to use my smaller round brush to do this one because the other one was the larger one. This one's like, it's not really a 5x7, it's a little bigger than that. This one might need a custom mat, but you can still buy a ready-made frame for. I don't know. I don't know what size this is. I thought my paper, if I cut it at 5x7, it would be 2 5x7s because I thought I was cutting it in half, but it was not. But I do kind of like this shape. Sometimes a unique shape is really going to bring a, it's really going to bring some custom feel to it, like it was more of a, splurge for your art decor. But I don't know about you guys. Do you guys have a lot of wall space? My house does not have a lot of wall space. My living room has windows on one side, arches on another side, open floor plan to the kitchen on one side. So, and a TV and fireplace on one side. So there's not a whole lot of room for artwork in my house, but there is some. The columns are small enough to have small artwork. So I like putting artwork there, or I have a mantle that I can put small artwork, or my coffee table can have some small artwork. So that's why I like painting these little small ones. Linda says, beautiful. Thank you so much, Linda. So I have wet this coral, and now we're going to do some like pure turquoise. So I have squeezed some turquoise in here, but if you don't have to paint, just use whatever is your most turquoisey color, right? I'm going to just dip it in there. I want you guys to see how it looks on the palette. So I'm going to dip and show you. Now, usually for my first wash being placed down, I want it to be watery and I want it to be light, because it's harder to go light after you've gone dark. So now we're just going to put this in and see how it likes to flow wherever, because it's wet and it's just flowing everywhere. Just looks really pretty. This actually could be very subtle and gorgeous in its own way, right? I'm just touching it and letting the water do the work. See how that looks? And if your paper is drier than mine, or you're in a dry location, maybe you live in the desert and it's really dry. I live where it's very humid in Alabama. So I'm putting down this pretty light turquoise color. And I almost like how that water on there that was kind of a pale pink is looking with it. It's almost really adding something for it. Like when I look at it on the screen, I'm like, oh, it looks kind of pretty like that. Now what we can do, that we've got this whole light thing. Oh, Debbie just put sunglasses. Woohoo! I'm gonna let me get some. All right, I'm gonna dab it in my turquoise. And I'm gonna just dab it right there, really thick. Look at how dark that is. I did not water that down at all. Look at that. It's beautiful. So I'm going to dab it back into my paint and see what happens over here. Ooh, I like it. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. And it's really just flowing wherever it kind of wants. And see how the depth of the painting is changing already with creating these darker areas. It's just kind of cool to watch. Isn't it cool to watch? I kind of like it. This is what mesmerized me about watercolor when I started in 2020. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun, especially this wet and wet where it's controlled. So I didn't wet this whole page and start painting this because it would have flowed everywhere. But you can control watercolor by just wetting where you want it to go, which I think is really a great way to paint with watercolor. If you feel like you need to control where your paint goes, just don't wet the whole page. You just let it do a little bit here and there. Look at that. That is so gorgeous, just how it's flowing. Can you see it up close? Let me see. So I'm just like dabbing it here and there. Look at that. I just love, that's like, I could sit and watch this all day. this looks so fun. And so we're just doing a little bit more over here. And here's the great thing about this kind of art decor. So sometimes when you want to do a beautiful, you want something like a stunning piece of artwork for a bedroom or a bathroom even. Like let's say you're changing your bathroom and you kind of want this whole beachy vibe theme. You can go and buy some artwork that's like 120 bucks, 150 bucks. And it'll look gorgeous, of course. But why not try and make your own? Why not do this? This is kind of cool because you can get, your brushes, your paints, and your paper for under 50 bucks. And you can make as much as you need. You can make a whole wall of different size paintings of this. You can do whatever color you want. You can change out the colors. Like let's say after you paint this, frame it, and put it on the wall, you're like, you know what? Really wanted the peach color, right? And so you might go back in and you might change out your art. But you can do it so cheaply. Like this is great. This is great. Oh yeah, look at how that's looking. And I might put a little bit dark red on one area here. I have like a little hair on the tip of that. Let me get that. Now the one thing that might upset you if you are using light colors that are translucent and pale is that your pencil line is going to show. That's why I always say do really light pencil line. You can use a kneaded eraser to lighten them before you start painting. They do make some kind of pencil that is, when it gets heated, it disappears. So that would be another option if you don't like the pencil line. I actually don't mind it. Now this is perfect really as is. Like I wouldn't have to change anything on this. But because I like to keep painting, let's see what happens if I drop some green. What happens if we drop some of this Viridian green? I hardly use this green, right? It is very Viridian. So I'm just dabbing it in here. It's giving it a little bit of a teal color because of the blue. It's mixing on the paper. So maybe I like to introduce this color, but maybe not everywhere, maybe just here and there, right? So you can actually mix your colors right on the paper. Right there. Ooh, look at that. That looks nice. I'm liking how this color is mixing with it. If your paper is drying out, remember you can spray it with some water, drop some water in there. What? You hate that green? I know, I hardly use it because it looks artificial to me. And I like natural. You're kind of like me, you like a natural green. So I use sap green when I'm painting trees and different colors. Now, sometimes I'll mix the red in with my Viridian green. If I want like a more pine green, I'll use the Viridian with a lot of red mixed in, and that just makes it look more natural to me. But this Viridian's mixing with this turquoise, and this is going to be, who knows, maybe this will be in a boy's bathroom, right? Or maybe you just like these colors are soothing and it's going to be in your bedroom. I do have blues in my bedroom. I like that. I am like feeling this is done now. Do you guys feel it's done? It can be. It can be done. We can put it off to the side. So I might do one more for y'all because what other colors could we use besides blues and oranges for coral? There really is like, I mean, coral can have any color it wants, right? Maybe, does anyone? Good to know about the pencil line. I was sweating it. Ah, yes. I hate that sometimes when I press really hard just for these videos that you can see my drawings better when I press harder. It also will make a divot on your paper if you press hard. So I always try and keep it light so I don't see it hardly. And that makes it all the better. All right, what if we do one that's not so vibrant, maybe? Do we want to do one that's more natural like the original one? I might do this one. Let's see if I can do this one in 5 minutes. I'm looking, it's actually 10:56. So let me see if I can get this done by 11. That's 4 minutes. Can I do it? Well, we'll give me to 11:01, okay? Give me till 11:01. Please. Let's see what I can do. So see how I'm just dabbing all that water in there? It doesn't have to be perfect, right? So now I'm just going to use what I had in my palette with some browns and beiges. And I'm not putting it over the whole thing like I did with the others. I'm just putting it here and there. And then I'm going to use this blue. That's more of a muted blue. And I should probably be in a smaller brush, but we're going for quick. We're not going for precision. And then maybe a little Payne's Gray that's still on my palette. That's a little darker. And this is one of those things, as you do stuff like this over and over again, you're going to learn some really cool things. You're going to learn what colors go well together, what colors you like together. You're going to get your own style, and it's going to become more. I'm going to go smaller because I do need it smaller. And I kind of want a little bit of this burnt sienna. So the burnt sienna is like a reddish brown. And I'm just going to drop it in. Maybe I didn't like that. Rinse, dry, lift. If you don't like a color, you can lift it. Just keep dabbing on your paper towel until it's all lifted up. Let's try burnt umber instead of burnt sienna. Burnt umber is still a little bit red, but not quite as red as that burnt sienna. And I don't know why I use burnt umber and burnt sienna. I don't use raw sienna or raw umber as much. They're lighter. I guess I just like it for this dark feel right here. And see, I am getting a very quick little bit of blending. And if you blend, you can get different colors with the blues and the browns mixed together. Debbie says, I'm loving today. I have something that can go on the wall this afternoon. Yay! I can't wait to see pictures. You are amazing, girl. You're always doing amazing things. So if you don't have Payne's Gray, check this out. What happens when we just dip it straight in my Payne's Gray, which I do buy a tube of that. It normally does not come with. What happens if we do some darker Payne's Gray? What happens? Maybe we don't know what happens. Maybe we just try it and see what happens, right? Maybe we get, oh no, it's too dark. But you know what? It's just a little piece of paper, right? It's not anything to be worried about. Ooh, I'm liking that. I like that Payne's Gray in there. But I also liked this blue from earlier. So I might add some back in because 2 layers of the same color goes darker. You let it dry in between layers. Look at that. I am liking that. And I always like to wiggle my brush on these hard edges sometimes just to get rid of the hard edge. But maybe you like it. Maybe you want to keep that hard edge. That could be your style. But it doesn't have to be, but it could be. So I have just created this. And it's 11:01. Whoop, whoop. Y'all, I just did that in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Brushes down. This could be a challenge, right? Brushes down. All right. So that is cool. And here's the cool thing too. I want you guys to get in the habit of doing. Because sometimes we don't do this. And we throw our paintings in the corner somewhere. I am going to sign. Now, my initials are all I do, JP, and I do use a gel pen. I'm going to do 2026. I could, even after this is dry, use my pen and highlight. Maybe I want to draw around all of this and make it look like a line and wash. Just because you didn't start with line doesn't mean it can't end with line. So after something dries, you can always go in and add a line in there. So here's my other one that is still kind of dry and it's still wet because I use a lot of water. I'm going to do JP 2026. Y'all, these will be on my website for $100 each. I don't know. We'll see what I do with them. I may frame them and take them somewhere. JP 2026. And the cool thing about putting your little signature on there with a date, a year at least, is that you can go back after you've been painting for a year and see how amazing your skills have improved. Like, it's crazy to see. Like, me from 2020 to now is amazing. It's like so different. Do I have my whole table on here? Let me see if I can put them all together. Let's see. I have too much on my desk. Yeah, guys. So much. But I can try. I can try and put it all on here and see what happens. If we can see them all. So I did this color palette, this color palette, and this color palette. So there's different color palettes, right? And you can really do anything you want. You can do anything you want. You can do black and white even. You just use your black paint and water because you don't have white for watercolor. You use the paper for your white. And that might be a whole nother one, right? That we could do. So yeah, what do you guys think? That's pretty much what we did for today. Let me get some light on my face, y'all. But I so appreciate all of y'all coming and supporting my channel. If you haven't already yet, please hit like, subscribe if you haven't already. It's free. And you can share this with someone, like maybe you know an interior decorator. I have a couple friends that are interior decorators, and we spent a couple hours one day just making abstract landscapes with watercolor. And she ended up framing them and putting them in her client's condo that she did a redecoration for. And it was so beautiful. I was like, you're kind of a natural at this, but anyone can be. Anyone can learn to paint. You don't have to be a natural. Some people are. Some people can draw realistically. I don't. I like to trace. So you don't have to be a perfect savant in the art world in order to be an artist. You can just start with what you got, and you'll learn over time what works, what doesn't, just by doing it every day. Maybe can't do it every day. Do it like every other day or something. At least once a week, y'all. If you aren't painting once a week, why? Because this is like therapy. This is like free therapy. We just did an hour of free therapy, right? So let's see what our scripture for today is. You know, I like to go, we like shuffle the deck here and see what is going to pop up. I don't know. We don't know. Sometimes it's perfect for what we need for the day. If you're going through something, maybe you're like, oh, what is going on today that I am like so distressed and feeling down? Well, sometimes we read the Psalms and we understand David felt down. Ooh, I love this one, y'all. This is such a good one because it's short and sweet and it's a truth. It says, it's Psalm 91:11. I ordered my angels to protect you wherever you go. I love you. That is a message from God for whoever needs to hear it today. He loves you. He's sending his angels to protect you. And don't we all need it? I mean, there's wet roads out there right now. Driving in Baldwin County is kind of sketchy. The Causeway, the Bayway, Jerry, I'm praying for you and your move. Praying for all of y'all in the chat. And I love you guys. I hope you have a blessed day. And I will see you soon. Mwah.